Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we've got a HDA for automatically building Megascans materials in lots alongside a unique way of tiling them to avoid repetition. As you can see with the render here, this is one material that's been tiled and you don't see any repeating. So right, let's jump into this and I'll show you how it's done. So here we are in Lops Solaris materials, and this is the auto material node. I'll go through the basics of how to use this and the ideas behind it. So first of all, this was to basically bring in Megascans materials on the normals, displacement and roughness automatically in without having to go and find these materials themselves and set them up with tiling. And then we'd also do a kind of better version of the standard UV tiling, which I'll talk about in a sec. So to first of all, to get this in, what we'll do is we'll go and find a location for a material that I've downloaded. So let's grab this one, accept, hit reload. So what will happen is if I turn on comma here, it will automatically load the material in based on the files here. So it'll bring in the albedo, the normal and the roughness. It'll also bring in a preview map of the material into Houdini and attach this to the node, which will be really useful if you've got loads of different nodes and you want to load in and quickly see what you have there. At the moment, this is tiling 3x3. And what I've done is basically there's two types of tiling here. There's the standard tiling, which is just repeating, which is what you'd normally get with a tiling standard texture. And there's also this one, which is a unique setup, which was based off an Intagma video, which I'll link in the bottom in the description. But the idea behind it is it will rotate and tile and break up with a bit of noise each of the tiles. So each tile will randomly get rotated and then it will blend together. So this will automatically do it. But as you'll see, when you go up into about 5x5, it will give you some nice breakup. Whereas when you start doing the standard tiling, as you can see here, you see the repetition really easily. So it's a really nice way of just quickly dropping down a material for large grounds or environments and getting what you need kind of off the bat and it working. So if I just dive into this right now, you'll see that there's a couple of presets. There'll be the albedo, roughness, normals, and a displacement already pre-assembled. And then if you go into this rotation, you'll see that this is the rotation setup for the tiling. When you untick some of these, so let's say I only wanted the albedo. If you untick those and hit reload, what it will do is it will disconnect everything except the albedo. Or if you wanted the roughness, you can hit reload and it will build in the roughness. So I've also got custom files here. So for instance, if you wanted to bring in a custom mask or something and you wanted to connect it up in the shader, what you can do is if, let's say I put mask 01 and I wanted this to connect to opacity, and then the opacity would be linked to the shader here, so this input. What I can do is if I go to actually where this material is, if I copy and paste this, and rename, displacement, copy, and call this one mask 01, like this. When we reload, you'll see that it'll automatically bring in the mask input material here, which will link it to that file location, and it will chuck it into the opacity, which is pretty cool. Just makes it speedier for if you had unique maps that you wanted to bring in, for instance. But if I clear this, chuck all the normals, I'll show you as well, if we reload this, I'll show you how quick it is to bring in different types of materials. So if we now were like, I just want to quickly chuck down, let's say this grass wild, automatically builds in, and this will build everything. Get rid of this. It will build everything in here, replug it and wire it up. Or if you wanted something like, let's go for the forest, ground forest, got this. You can, so with the tiling as well, there's a bit of a seed which will rotate these tiles You can see as they do it like this. A couple of caveats. So the way that Houdini works with the background images is if you do Control I, you'll be able to increase this, and it will be linked to this material. But if you change the name of this, so if I go to 2, unfortunately it disconnects, which is really annoying. But if you Control I, get rid of this, and if you just reload, it will reconnect up to this again. I don't know why that happens, but you know, I think it's a link based on name, not based on node, which is really annoying. But and also, what I would also say is the material. I allow editing of content because for some reason the Material X shader doesn't like being inside the locked HDA. So to be able to edit it, yeah, that's the best way to do it that I found, is just to unlock it. If I find a way of doing it better, then in the future, then we can add something in. But yeah, so you can see as you see here, it's like a really quick way of getting, you know, multiple materials in straight away from there you go, and then also seeing these materials there. So anyway, I hope this is hope you've enjoyed this and this comes of some use. I'm going to use this more in the next kind of couple of environments that I make. So hopefully if there's any bugs or anything, I'll even it out. And if there's any features that we might want to add or something, I'll add it in. But if you've got any suggestions, chuck it in the comments below. And yeah, if you've got anything, if any bugs or anything, I'll try and get on it as soon as possible. But yeah, cheers.